Hey guys, and thanks for tuning in. My name is SPYN and today we'll look into the subject of bigger stage suggestions. Now, before we start, let me declare a few things first. Okay, this notice aims to help people understand the argument behind the suggestions proposed in this suggestions video. To my understanding, it's quite easy for people to see big stages as something bad. They will think of how easy it is for certain players to run away all the time to win. And they will also think there is no way possible to get to those players in order to make comebacks and win themselves. It is true though. In the current Storm games there are no features that allow such situations where you're able to catch up on your enemy that easily. It's only logical to think this way, and I truly respect this point of view. However, what many people fail to see is that the ability to run away is not caused by playing on big stages. No, instead it's bounded by the features the players have themselves. For instance, if we have a big stage and you're only able to make small jumps, then that means that once a player has created a certain amount of distance to his opponent, then it will of course take some time for the opponent to reach the other player. If the player then keeps running away, then surely it will take even longer. Now, with that being said, I want to remind you that when I suggest these bigger stage suggestions, I also have certain movement suggestions that will make these suggestions much more appropriate. Mainly the large ninja jump suggestion, which is specifically designed to approach an opponent who's far away from yourself. In addition, I believe that this suggestion will make the gameplay much more smooth. It will give a better feeling of being a ninja, since you'll be able to put large distances behind yourself in one jump, and it will make it much easier to approach players who keep running away. Therefore, please remember that when I suggest these suggestions for bigger stages, it is only because I have these movement suggestions in mind. Alright, let's get to it. My first suggestion for bigger stages says, let's create bigger stages to make more room for faster and more ninja-like moves. Now, there is already a quite big stage in the Storm series called Ruined Land, which is a huge flat ground area. But the bigger stages should not be like that entirely. Instead, they should also have bigger obstacles or destructible objects like trees, rocks, houses and everything else that easily could be implemented into a ninja-like stage. More importantly, it has to be obstacles that you can use a move on. Otherwise, they just become superficial parts of a stage that are unusable. I will get to this topic in a few moments. Anyhow, so basically what I suggest is that we create extra stages with the same size as the Ruined Land stage. If it were to be me, I would like to have this size as a standard size for the game series stages to make room for much more epic action. Again, all of this become much more interesting when we get to have large ninja jumps and other ninja-like moves. By creating bigger stages, we will finally have much more room for these moves, and it will also create better opportunities for the previous movement suggestions that I have suggested before. Let's move on. Suggestion number 2 for bigger stages says, let's make the destructible objects and obstacles more useful, bigger and more interactive, and less superficial. By superficial, I define any kind of object that has been placed without any significant meaning. By making the obstacles more interactive, we get to play on stages where regular trees and other similar objects are destructible while still serving as useful obstacles. This will give the ultimate feeling of playing as a ninja in the perfect ninja environment. Alright, my suggestion number 3 for bigger stages evolve around the stage surfaces. More specifically, I suggest that we should go beyond the traditional flat surface and make it more curvy to simulate different landscapes. Of course, it doesn't have to involve every stage, but at least some of them. We could, for instance, incorporate hills that players will be able to run on and perhaps use for cover for certain incoming attacks and jutsus. The possibilities are great, and it's only the imagination setting the limitations. Alright, that was it for this suggestion video. Please share your thoughts and opinions on this subject and tell me what you think about it, or if you could see things happening in other and perhaps more interesting ways. Remember, I'm considering all suggestions that you write to me for my Storm 4 Suggestions magazine project, so please keep the ideas coming. Anyways, please give this a thumbs up if you liked this video and subscribe to stay tuned for the next videos. My name is SPYN, and as always, thanks for watching.
You